Dear Harstem, I find storms very imbalanced against Terran Bio. My opponent was extremely toxic guy, played so bad but managed to win just because of this imbalanced spell. Early game seemed to start bad for me, but I killed 20 probes with my Liberators. Microed better than my opponent, traded better, but still lost because he just had too many bases. What is this spell if you can be toxic, really stupid, and still win just A moving and pressing the T button, which is Storm? So tell me, is it IMBA? Or do I suck? This imbalanced complaint form was sent to me by Nick Wellick, a European Terran player in the Diamond League with 4000 MMR, with the easy question of whether Storm is imbalanced or if he sucks. Let's figure it out together. And there we go, Nick Wellick versus Pants. Nick Wellick is one of these names that is either an anagram of something else, or like if you read it backwards, it means something. Kailiu Kin. No, it doesn't mean anything backwards. Either way, our pros player is called Pants. That is a real thing, of course. That's what most people wear when they go outside. And going for a little bit of worker harass here, trying to take out this SCV for starters. So far, not doing a great job of that. It's taking a lot of damage, taking some serious hull damage as well, which is always scary. We have somewhat of a serious build order. And ooh, look at that. Nick over here, or Nick Wellick. Oh, maybe he's French. Le Nick Wellick. Managed to take out that first probe there, and that means Pants is not going to get the full-on scout. He got the initial scout that it's a barracks. He didn't even see that there's a gas, but I think you can assume that there's going to be a single gas. Won't know whether the first unit is going to be Reaper or Marine, whether it's going to be a high ground or a low ground TC. Either way, both players with very standard openers. Corby for Nexus for the Protoss, which is the absolute standard, and a Reaper expansion, which is what most Terran players would consider standard. There's some of the higher level Terran players that love going for 2 gas openers, or even Marine into Factory for some quicker aggression with maybe mines, but I'm completely okay with this build. Clem plays it like 85% of the time. If Clem plays something 85% of the time, you can be pretty sure it's solid, it's strong, and you can definitely beat anyone with it as well. So I'm happy with this build. It's gonna take the gas before the bunker. This is rare. Yeah, we don't really see that. Perhaps he's just gonna go on a complete skip here on the bunker, which I also don't completely mind. It's a map with a ramp, which often is easier to defend on. Actually gonna get some control on this Reaper. Let's take a look at how well the money is being spent behind all of this. One of my favorite things in life is watching Diamond players control a Reaper and then kill nothing while floating 12,000 minerals. We are floating a little bit here, 400 to be exact. It could live if you... So? It could live if you... Pans is a man that speaks in a very cryptic form. I'm not sure if Nick understands here what happened, but I definitely don't. These guys maybe seem to have some rapport already from earlier games. Cyclone is the first unit coming out of this factory, starport behind it. Now we have a bunker going down, which honestly feels like this bunker doesn't serve a purpose anymore. It's too late to hold the first adept, and it's too early to hold a blink all in. So it's really here for banter. Spending 100 minerals is putting it in the bunker bank. You can always get it back at any point anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. Or well, get a portion back of it. No second barracks. Is that we're building the CC? Spit. Speaking with a lot of extra features here. Some water came out of my mouth. But I couldn't believe that out of all the positions you would choose for your command center, you would pick the one that is A, vulnerable from the low ground, and the easiest to scout, rather than 2 other completely fine locations, either over here or over there. This is honestly a wild spot. I can't believe that this is a location you can put it in. But apparently it is. Barracks position also is odd. You kind of want to have it closer to your factory and starport so you can make it flip, make it switch with the tech labs to start your stim quicker. Technically, Nick had the units ready, except they weren't in the correct position, which is fairly important. That scan shouldn't work, and it won't. This used to work about 2 patches ago. Nick is a little bit slow in the brain when it comes to that. Now has an anti-air unit, which he could be using to clear that oracle, but he could also use it to stare at the command center. And so far, that is the... I guess that is the use that Nick wants most. Nick? I call him Nick. Nick prefers staring. I guess this oracle is just going to regain shields at this point, and now it's going to be capable of escaping. This is what giving your opponent a fair chance looks like. The Oracle's still going to be stuck here. We're going to get a recall and actually manages to escape. Had this happened about 30 seconds earlier when the lip popped out, it would have worked. But yeah, I guess Nick wanted to keep that Oracle alive for whatever reason. Going into 2 more barracks, so it's going to be 5 racks. Semi-continued tank production. 0 E-base. It also feels like he hasn't built a worker in quite a while, or maybe not even a single time from his natural. He's lost a lot of workers as well. Come on, scan one more time. Maybe you'll get it this time. No, okay, won't do that. It would have made me very happy if he would have, though. As the Liberator is now going to get sent out. This is one of the quickest Liberator send-outs I've seen in my life. I think this guy popped at like 4 minutes and 30 seconds in. And she's been idling in the main base. Then trying to chase an Oracle that got recalled. And then another 30 seconds of idling. Now it's finally going to go across. But by the time it arrives, there's going to be a Void Ray out. Honestly, Pants here could have tacked into carriers. And the carrier would have been in time to defend the freaking Liberator. That's how slow the move out was. There's a second Liberator out as well. Both of these are now going to set up. But they're going to need to deal a lot of damage. Because Nick hasn't really been producing any workers at all. Which is definitely a mistake. Is this Lib... What? I like that his priority is sending 6 question marks here, rather than pulling the workers away. I want to know the logic behind all this. I actually do believe he has mental issues as well. But there's actually an explanation for that. For why Pence has mental issues. What's he doing? He keeps stacking his own buildings early to the simulator and the gate. It's because... in Pence's house, when he was a baby, they had a tradition that whenever a visitor came by into the house, is that the visitor would be allowed to drop the baby on its head, and thus over time incurring brain damage. And a lot of visitors came because his father actually had the oldest profession in the world. Pence's father was a tailor, so businessmen from far and wide came by to the house to get their suits tailored, and then when they come in, they drop the baby on the head. Then they sleep over as well because Pence's mom was a prostitute. And then in the morning when they left, they dropped the baby on the head again. So double drops per visitor. And there were a lot of businessmen coming by, let me tell you. So that explains some of the chatting that we've seen so far in the game. It also explains the constant need to attack his own stuff. Like, what is this? Good move command here. Nice scan. Okay, these 3 question marks I can understand, because what the hell was this? Well, first of all, what is this attack? 1,200 minerals in the bank? No medevacs? He managed to hit the absolute timing where nothing is done. No +1, no medevacs. He's been investing all of this money in like 2 E-base, this 3rd base that had hardly been mining. Like he put in all the investments. There's no payoff quite yet at this moment. And Nick decides that this is the perfect time to attack. Meets 2 zealots who have +1 armor here already, by the way. Stims in. Then sees pretty much the majority. Maybe he doesn't see all of it. No, he sees pretty much the entire army and then scans the bushes in case there's some guerrillas hiding in here. Like, not entirely sure what the point is of this, but I'm a fan nonetheless. The earlier 6 question marks I don't agree with, but these 3 I can kind of feel. I understand those, alright? I can empathize with that. I absolutely can. Voider's actually gonna get taken out. I can't believe he's winning this fight. Holy crap, Protoss is too weak. Yeah, we need more buffs. This is actually surprising to me. I guess Stim is gonna run out. It's still gonna get cleared up, but it felt like this should be a much bigger bust here. Rather than what this was. I mean, it actually looks good for Nick now. Because there's only 45 workers for Pence. And there's 54 for Nick. Doesn't have any gases on the natural. This is a new way of playing. It's a completely new way of playing. Armory. Pure marine. No gas needed. Love to see it. Okay, now I like this. Nick is someone that doesn't have the ability to anticipate for the future. He just lives completely in the moment. You know, he's the guy blasting $500 in a club on bottles of Grey Goose while he has rent due tomorrow and only $500 in total in his bank account. That is not a good financial decision. But Nick really lives in the moment. He's like, oh, I need gas. Let me throw down refineries. Can't look into the future. Not at all. I also couldn't have seen this one coming. Decided to put himself in the best possible position. Forgot to use stim as well. Gets absolutely destroyed by this attack. How fast was this response? Holy crap. I just kind of want to first person this, okay? 8:56 is when we spotted on the minimap. Maybe even a second earlier, but I'm gonna give that to him, okay? I'm gonna give that to him. So here we go. 8:57. Boom, bidum, bidum. Depots, barracks, la la, CC, another Ghost Academy. We've been fighting for 15 seconds. How can you not look at your army for 15 seconds? When you're 4,000 MMR. Like, this can't be real. Like, this is how nukes hit. It's like you're just standing there, you hear the nuclear launch detected. And then freaking 15 seconds later, the nuke comes down on your army and you're just in time to see it land. Holy crap. I don't think I've ever seen this in my life. Even silver players most of the time, they look at their army like every... Well, hopefully more than 4 times a minute. Oh, 15 seconds. That's not a good look. He also didn't tab out. Like, if he was tabbed out and had 0 OPM, but he was doing things. He was building ghost academies. He was recentering his camera hotkeys in the main base. A fantastic play here by Nick. Lost it, did he lose his third? No, had to lift it. He's now down in workers. He's trying his best to take out that prism. He's trying to maneuver around how dead space works. Like, wait, it's over here, I can't shoot it. Pence is just baiting him as well. Look at this. This is pure baiting. I feel like you could still shoot from here, no? Put like a marine here? Is that range? I'm not sure if the range is there. Feels like it might be. It probably isn't, but it might be. Looks close. So we're gonna get our +2 attack right now. Meanwhile, we already have +2 armor here for Pence, who is once again going for a zealot attack after the success of the last one. Where I realized his opponent didn't even use stim for the entirety of the duration of that fight. Voidray coming in. Oh, we're gonna go for a drop. Love to see those blind drops. Oh, never mind. There's an army here. What is this decision making? What? Look at this. This can't be real. Look. Okay, so I could almost forgive him for blindly dropping across the map. Look how little map vision he has. He has legit none. It's like 0 stars for the freaking map vision here. It's like negative. Absolute negative map vision. But then his drop accidentally scouts something and he responds to it. He sees the army here. So I'm like, okay, he realizes he's about to be attacked. He's going to move his entire army into a choke, unload. What does Nick do? He sends the 8 Marines, which is like 25% of his army, across the map, but not even in a direct line. Like, where the hell is he going? He's going to the bottom and then to the right to take the longest detour that mankind has ever known. This guy has freaking balls of steel. Holy cow. He got so lucky here. Because honestly, if Pence would have attacked with a Guardian Shield, this would have just been game over. 2-1 upgrades plus Guardian Shield against this tiny little army. There was only a single tank in position. No shot. Loving, by the way, the use of the Viking here. Just in the main army, rather than using it to kill this prism. Bunch of Marines also in the main base in case the prism shows up. Lovely stuff. And now we're going to get a drop. Doesn't know if there's a fort base, but it's going to find it right here. It's going to go for the main instead. It's a wild move. Gonna see a Templar warping in next to the Templar archives. Pence is... God. His dad was one hell of a tailor, let me tell you. God, one hell of a tailor. Everyone came by. Toof. There goes little Pence again. Hate to see it. There's a dent on the top of his head as well. You can put him down on his head and he will stand still. You know how some people make a big deal of being capable of standing on their head? For Pence, that's no problem because there's like such a massive dent. He's stable as a rock. I actually heard that they model earthquake-proof buildings after how his head is, like how dented it is. That's how they build them now, like these earthquake-vulnerable areas. They have like life-sized, what do you call these? Like statues of Pence. These freaking question marks are driving me nuts. If I was Nick, I actually would have flamed him back. Drop some mules at this point. Because Nick right now thinks he's winning. Okay, let me just move this tank here on the low ground real fast. Okay, that didn't work out. Maybe, let's try again. I love that, by the way. That fight earlier, he was building a Ghost Academy. Hasn't created a single Ghost yet. Like, legit not a single one. Beautiful little stack of the Marines here against these storms. Oh, yes! Yeah, no stim, no need for that. The poof! Is there a way where I can clump up my Marines any further? No, I think this was the max. These were some of the best storms I've seen in my life. And I think none of the credit there goes to Pence, and all of the credit goes to Nick. Holy cow. This is really something. 2, 3, 4 more gateways coming out right now. You know, sometimes when I watch these games, I start to gaslight myself into thinking that the speed is too low. No, it wasn't. The speed was correct. These players just play really slow. It's like nothing is happening. There's no melee, still no ghost. It's getting shield upgrades. Okay. You know, I was actually gonna flame Pence here for getting shield upgrades. But I won't, because he identified that his opponent, Nick here, is too dumb to build the ghost. So the shield is genius, except Nick has now started 2 ghosts. So not as genius after all, but you can only work with what you've seen in the past, you know? They always say this, that results achieved in the past are no guarantee for the future. And Pence just forgot to read that little, you know, the small text there, the fine print. Forgot to read that for a second. He thought, you know what, shield upgrade, let's go for it. He actually has the most EMP counterable army that I've seen in my life. He's like, you know what, purely relying on Templar is not good enough. Let me also add in a bunch of Archons and then pure Zealot for the rest. Like, Ghost would legit poop on this army so hard, it's not even funny. Oh, we get a stim. That's better than the other fights we've seen so far. The stim started as the fight started, not midway through or after the fight has ended. Zealot run by, or Zealot drop in the main base is going to take out all the upgrades. This is still the same Prism, I believe, from earlier that's just been idling here for 5 hours despite a Viking being around. I think it is the same one. 90% sure. 87% sure. I'm getting less sure the more I talk. Either way, this fight is going quite well here for Pence. As in, he's about to get cleaned up, but I think he dealt enough damage. That's a brilliant recall. Got 2 units back home, lost 4 more. Love to see it. As he's currently on 5 bases, has 11 gates. And Nick actually correctly identifying in this case that the best thing that he can do is going for a counterattack. I love the SCV pool here. In case the SCVs suddenly gain the ability to attack air. That was a high tier move. It's not really healing this up quite yet, just boosted all of his medevacs. Also a good move. Shoot scan upwards here. And then EMP. Sorry, one more time. I want to see that EMP once more. My man has a single EMP and he's playing against someone that only makes Templar and Archons. Look where he carefully places this EMP. Beautiful stuff. Hitting none of the Templar, which all are getting pretty darn close to having a storm right now. I think he did manage to hit the Archon though. Come on, run up the ramp. Run up the ramp, man. Let's get down to business and freaking destroy this clown. It's time to go. I feel like sometimes people really lack a sense of urgency. Like after you lost all of your workers and you know your opponents are like 12 bases. The goal is to kill them ASAP. Yeah, this is not really working. Oh, the pylon, kill the pylon. Don't kill the pylon. It's not that important. Managed to lift some units in his medevac earlier as well. We have a fort base, so that is nice. No extra E-base are coming down. So now these medevacs will be boosting back home. Here, once again, Nick, not capable of anticipating for the future. Doesn't want to drop his units. Like, no, they're saving the medevac, at least for now. And realize they're taken out by the Phoenixes at some point. Like, oh, it's gone, I guess. Fort base gonna turn into a command center. Good move. We definitely need some type of cash, and mules are a good way to regenerate some cash. The lack of E-base is still hurting me. The lack of ghost is hurting me. Maybe he thinks the ghost is like a hero unit. Which is honestly not a weird thing to think, you know? As a Terran, imagine you're a Terran player and you're only diamond. The power of the ghost is so surreal that you might believe it's like the mothership. You can only build one at the same time. You know, when it loses, you can rebuild it. Maybe that's what Nick thinks here. And I think that's I'm not even gonna complain about that, because I think that's a very reasonable thought. Logically, that makes sense, because the Ghost is freaking powerful. Would I rather have a Ghost or a Mothership in my army? Honestly, majority, I think I'd rather have a single Ghost in my army than a Mothership. So, yeah, I completely feel the vibe here. Once again, Stim fairly late coming out of Nick. Fights half the fight without it. Has a couple of Zealots in the main base, and at this point, one could consider this game completely over. But Nick has different plans, and I was gonna say ignorance is bliss, but he actually is aware of the fact that there are 5 bases out, at least. There's currently 6 bases out. He believes there are 5, or well, he knows there's at least 5. And he's currently on, well, technically on 4, but he has the saturation of 2. So, not a great look. One of the funny things here is that Pants is very good at expanding to many bases, but actually isn't so great at saturating these bases. So he only has 71 workers, not a whole lot of gas mining, which I'm kind of happy for, because I think often mineral units in these type of games are much better, especially if the Terran is incapable of building Ghost for whatever reason. Fort base has landed, once again no worker production. The funny thing is that only 45 workers have gone down. That means that the total amount of workers that have been built was 83. Yeah, was 83, which is a very low amount for someone that has been in the game for this long. Like, that is actually very little. And we can notice this entire time there is no SCV reproduction. Also some oversaturation on the natural, but that's a story for another time. Command center is being built in position, is a ballsy move. This Prism really is the arch rival of Nick over here. Holy crap. He built a Viking for it earlier, but never quite understood how to use it. Maybe he just hates air units or doesn't understand how they work. I'm telling you, this Prism could have been attacked earlier as well. It was fake safe. It was pretending to be safe. It's like it's unbelievable. It's like a candy condom. It doesn't work. Get it together, man. Shields over here. What is this? +2. CC is gonna be taken out at this point as well. 7th base now on the way. More Phoenixes. And this is legit the most primitive army that I've seen in my entire life. But somehow, some way it's working. I do like the grit that Nick is showing here. I don't like the fact that his units are not allowed better weapons or better upgrades. Also not a huge fan of splitting off these Ghosts. Like, there's some elite sniper force that are very good by themselves. Ghosts are insane with an army. But you always need some type of backup with them. TVZ, that's tanks and mines. And other Ghosts. And in this matchup, it's just regular bio. I think that's the trick majority of the time. So really, at this point, we see Pants is up about 4 upgrades. Also has actually has a smaller army. But if he can get any storms off here, which he won't, he might just be in a better spot. This actually is a fight that Nick potentially could win. Unless Pants realizes he still has 3 Templar in this Prism. Oh, snipe the Prism, snipe the Prism. God, this guy has balls of steel as well. Look at that. Clumping the entire army. Ooh. Whoa. Okay, now he knew what was in the Prism. Dude, there used to be this TV show with a kid that would say everything twice. That was his gimmick. What was the name of that show? Where he just repeat the same sentence. Maybe that's what Pants is. That's a weird gimmick as well for a TV show. Like superhero shows, and this kid's gimmick is that he says things twice. What was that called? A hamster will have it figured out. Maybe it was a Dutch show. Jacob Double. Jacob Double. I think that's what it was called. I'm not sure if there's an English version. I'm sure there was. I don't think we made any TV shows ourselves in the Netherlands. Especially with such a bad premise. Saying everything twice. That's probably the worst superpower you could have. Imagine rubbing a lamp and you get a genie and you have 2 wishes. And you accidentally wish the same thing twice. God, that would suck. Awful superpower. Okay, 5 Archons are out. Ghost still acting like a elite squad here by themselves. Come on, send these over to the simulator, mate. I know you can do it. There's just a random orbital here. He's like, my main base isn't safe anymore. Let me put it further forward, near my 5th base. God, I love the logic of these guys. It's gonna get the eBay, finally. We also have, I think, this is 9 bases. Can I count that correct? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I didn't. It's 8 bases. Yeah, honestly, at this point, I think the question marks are warranted. The question marks actually are warranted. Because what the hell are we still doing in this game? I guess it's also partially on Pants though. Partially on Pants for not really finishing the game. It also keeps getting everything EMP'd at once. It's like the clump everything challenge in this game. We saw Nick trying to catch as many storms as possible. This guy is a real prick. You know that? This guy is a real prick. Pants, no one likes you. Alright? It's not nice. What are you doing here, man? You don't deserve the GG. Type it anyway. Oh, you should have typed it anyway. You don't deserve it, but I'll give it to you anyway. That's what I would have said. I wouldn't have said that. I would have just typed GG. Then I would smash my keyboard. Holy crap though, Nick. Look, I understand you were upset after this game because Pants is a prick. Okay, let's get that out of the way. He gets the freaking prick stamp. You are a massive prick. But holy crap. The complete lack of an actual build order with your 3cc 38 workers 7 minutes into the game, the worst initial push out I've seen in my life, the fact that you don't look at your army for 15 seconds after multiple alerts is absolutely mind-blowing to me at this level as well. Freaking 4k MMR. Like, that's not bad. That's actually not that bad, 4k MMR. Like, I thought I respected people that had 4k MMR, but now I probably have to rethink my stance. Then the complete lack of rebuilding your upgrades for 8 minutes after losing to the eBay, the fact that you don't understand how air units work. Like, I don't think that Pants deserves to win the game, but that's only because I think he's a terrible human being. The way that he played, he definitely deserves to win the game. Actually, I think he should take double your points. That's how freaking poor you played, because Nick, let's face it, you freaking sucked. This was an imbalance. That's the way it is. All right, that is actually going to be it for me today. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Is It IMBA or Do I Suck? If you think you found some imbalance in the new patch or on the new maps, be sure to tell me all about it. Send me an imbalance complaint form through the Google form in the description, and we'll be getting back to you ASAP. This was it for this week. Thanks so much for watching, and bye-bye.